Yeah, this episode probably isn't going to be a particularly happy one. She was suing the riding school that she was at, and I got really, really annoyed. With all the goodwill in the world, you cannot predict what any horse will do 100% of the time. I know 99% of horse riders aren't like that. They understand that they're riding an animal, and it's their choice to ride this animal. If you are a horse riding school or do horse events or anything like that, or even a horse charity, please reach out to us because we want to help you as best as we can. Hi everyone, I am so sorry. It's been quite a bit of time, but welcome to episode 8 of the Just Horse Riders podcast. I'm really sorry it's taken me so long to get another episode out. I've been extremely busy, been doing lots of horsey things with the family, been getting lots of things ready for the spring season, which is coming upon us, with all those nasty flies coming out. So just getting everything ready for that. But yeah, this episode probably isn't going to be a particularly happy one. I'm actually extremely frustrated by something I've heard and then started thinking about what I've heard from previous years. I was at a pony club event and I was sat next to a couple of people. I don't particularly know if they were horsey or not. Doesn't really make a difference if they are. But one of them was telling the other person about a story about how they fell off during a horse riding lesson. And she was saying that it was totally ridiculous that this horse had thrown her off. And how the horse riding school that she was at is to blame. And how on earth could they let something like that happen? And from the story that I heard, there was nothing about the horse. No loud noises, no nothing. The horse just spooked at something and just went off in another direction while she was in trot. Anyway, this lady fell off and I believe either fractured her ankle, broke her ankle, or something along those lines. Anyway, so the story continued, and she told her friend that she was suing the riding school that she was at. And I got really, really annoyed, like really annoyed. This person has decided to go horse riding for whatever reason, whether it's a passion, whether that she loves it, whatever it is. Something has happened during that lesson for that horse to spook, whatever it is. And as far as I've heard, nothing that the riding school was at fault for. And the horse is spooked, and then there's been an injury. And she finds it justifiable to then try and sue the riding school for her decision of getting on a horse and falling off. Now, I know we live in this sort of society where there's a blame, there's a claim sort of thing, and I don't particularly agree with that, because I think people should have some sort of ethics behind them, whether, even if they can get some money out of someone for something wrong that they've done, like where the morals, where the ethics of people. I feel as though the right and wrong aspect is going out the window, and if anybody can make a quick buck or a bit of money off someone's mistake, they're quite happy to do that with no guilty conscience. That really bothers me. So going back to it, this lady has now put a lot of stress on this riding school that she's now suing after having a riding lesson and going there off her own free will. Now, there might be some people out there saying, well, yeah, if she fell off and hurt herself, then the riding school is to blame. It's like, well, no, not really, not in my opinion anyway. If you're in a car, you've got to accept that if you are driving, you could have an accident, or someone could drive into you, or you could make a mistake and drive into someone else. That's part and parcel of life. And I think you have to use cars in order to function. You have to drive to school. You have to drive to your job. You have to drive to get food. It's a fundamental thing of surviving in the modern world. Now, horse riding isn't. That person has chosen to go on that horse, which again is not a machine, is an animal, is a half a ton, whatever it is, animal. And with all the goodwill in the world, you cannot predict what any horse will do 100% of the time. You can't. There's been times where my children have been riding and they go next to a bush and a duck flies out of the bush and the horse spooks, and guess what? My kid fell off. Is that the horse's fault? No, because they're flight animals. That's what they do. They run away if something scares them. Is it the duck's fault? No. Is it Aya's fault? Was it my daughter's fault? No. Was it my fault? No. It's just part of life. And I don't understand the mentality of some people that find it justifiable to sue a horse riding school after they've chosen to go horse riding on an animal. Now, okay, fair enough. If there's something that causes the spook, yeah. Okay, could the riding school have done something about this? Possibly. We've had it in the past where a branch has fallen off a tree and a horse is spooked. How can you guard against a branch falling off a tree? I think the reason why I get so angry is because horse riding is such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And a lot of people probably don't realize how much stress and money and time it takes to run horse riding schools. I did a podcast not long ago about the cost of owning one horse, and it was between £6,000 and £15,000 for one horse. These riding schools, they've got 10, 30, 50 horses sometimes. That is a lot of money. Even 10 horses, you're looking at 150 grand a year. And I think why I got so annoyed is because I know what sort of stresses these horse riding schools are under. And I, for one, think they're incredibly important to maintain and keep those riders coming through and interested in horses. Think about it. Most of the people watching this, where did you start learning to ride? At a horse riding school. I, again, wasn't horsey when I was a kid, but even I went to a riding school when I was 7 or 8, and I loved it. If riding schools start closing down, our equestrian world is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And horse riders are going to get rarer and rarer and rarer. And I don't particularly want that. So if you are one of these people that are, if they fall off, they're trying to blame someone, or if they hurt themselves whilst horse riding, they're going to blame someone, please do not be in our world. Because we need people with ethics and morals and a backbone to understand that these sort of things happen and they're no one's fault. But if you're choosing to get on your horse or on any horse through your own free will, I don't think it's right for you to then try and get compensation out of a decision that you've made. Horse riding schools, animal charities, they're all struggling. They're all struggling because of the rising costs that we're all experiencing. So if you are going to be one of these types of people that are going to try and sue or try and get compensation from horse riders, riding schools, livery yards, whatever it is, through something that they can't really safeguard against, then don't bother getting on a horse. Don't bother. Because all you're doing is making the problem worse. You may get a quick buck out of it, but if you're a horse riding school, let's go through some of the costs. Horse riding schools have a phenomenal cost that a lot of people probably don't even see. You know, depending where you are, the riding lesson could be between £30 and £50 for an hour. And a lot of you are thinking, well, that's a lot for an hour. But it's not. Like I said, if a riding school's got 10 horses at 15 grand a pop to look after them a year, that's 150 grand. So that's including your vets, your dentist, your maintenance, your instructors as well. And God knows how expensive it is to have the fields for them to graze in, to have the arenas, fencing, saddles, rugs, bridles. The list is endless of the amount of cost involved in running a horse riding school. So to anybody who is running a horse riding school out there, or any type of horse related charity or business, then I take my hat off to you. And you know what? I know that you guys are struggling. And I know it's hard, and I know it's difficult. So if you are a horse riding school and you are watching this, I'd love for you to reach out to us and contact us. And what we'll do is we will set you up a discount code for you to get cheaper items from our website, just to help a little bit. I know it's probably a drop in the ocean, but I really think it's important to keep horse riding schools alive and going, because they are the blood in our equestrian world. Without them, there'd be no kids coming through as adults and doing what they're doing. Anybody who's putting events on, you know, again, without you, no horse rider's got anything to compete towards. I'm not talking about all the massive big competitions. I'm talking about your local competitions where I see hundreds of people going to. We've been to them. And they're amazing, and they're so important to keep alive. So yeah, sorry, this week's a bit of a rant. It really did just frustrate me a lot, because I know 99% of horse riders aren't like that. They understand that they're riding an animal and it's their choice to ride this animal. For the 1% of people who are riding that think it's okay to try and blame someone if they do fall off after a spook. Yeah, I don't particularly agree with that. So again, if you are a horse riding school or do horse events or anything like that, or even a horse charity, please reach out to us, because we want to help you as best as we can. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this week. Sorry, it's a bit of a downer, but I had to get that off my chest because it's been bugging me for a few weeks. So yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.